The war had gone on too long, for over 10 years. The Galactic Accord, a union of more than 70 alien species, had been fighting a hopeless war against the Krillex Dominion. The Krillex were insectoid monsters, born in deep space and bred only for conquest. Where they attacked, nothing survived. Planets were burned, skies turned black, and stars went silent. At first, the Accord believed they could win. They had advanced technology, a strong alliance, and peacekeepers in every sector. Kept coming, wave after wave, endless numbers. No fear, no diplomacy. One by one, member worlds fell. Civilizations that had existed for 1,000 years were turned into dust. Then, someone suggested a last option: humanity. Humans were new to the galactic community. Strange, aggressive, loud, and dangerous. The Accord had avoided calling them in, but now they had no choice. And when the humans came, everything changed. Sergeant Marcus Wren stepped out of the dropship as it landed on the surface of Cora Prime, the last Krillex stronghold. Smoke and ash filled the air. The sky was dark red, covered in fire. But Marcus walked calmly, his rifle across his back and a blade on his hip. He wasn't a large man, not a hero from stories. But everyone followed him, human soldiers, alien fighters, and machines too. He had earned their respect the hard way, battle after battle, never retreating, never giving up. In just 2 years, Marcus had led over 30 missions. Squads had destroyed entire Krillex hives. He never used complicated words, just fought one and kept moving forward. As he stood on the burned ground of Cora Prime, he looked up at the black spires of the Krillex war nest. "This is it," he said into his coms. "One last job." The final battle was brutal. Thousands of Krillex swarmed from their hive, screaming with sharp limbs and acid-filled mouths. Human tanks rolled across the cracked plains. Drones flew overhead, dropping plasma bombs. Alien warriors from 10 different species fought beside the humans. But it was the Earthborn soldiers who led the charge. Marcus's squad pushed deep into the hive. They lost people, good soldiers, but they didn't stop. Deeper and deeper they went, until they reached the Krillex Queen. She was huge. Her body filled the chamber like a mountain of flesh and armor. Her mind could control every Krillex across the galaxy. She hissed at Marcus, spitting acid, but he didn't flinch. He lifted his rifle, then he paused. "No," he said quietly. He dropped the gun and pulled the blade from his hip. "Let's make this personal." And with that he charged. It took 7 minutes. 7 bloody, painful minutes. But when it was over, the Queen lay dead, and Marcus stood alone, covered in dark green blood. Breathing heavy but still alive. The war was over. A week later, the heroes were gathered on the capital world of the Accord, a shining planet called Valeri Prime. Marcus was brought into the Grand Hall, a place of gold towers, floating lights, and alien leaders dressed in rich robes. His armor was still scratched and dented. He didn't care. The High Speaker of the Accord, a tall, glowing alien named Varellin, raised his arms. "Sergeant Marcus Wren of Earth," the speaker said, "you have ended a war that has cost trillions of lives. You have saved our galaxy. It's a token of our endless thanks. We offer you anything you desire. Wealth, land, technology, even a seat on our council." Marcus looked around at the offers. He didn't say anything for a long time. Then he pointed across the room. "I want her," he said. There was silence. Every alien turned to look. In the corner stood a tall, hunched figure covered in dark green exoskeleton, with sharp arms and a thin neck. Her eyes were black and wide, her mouth full of small, moving mad. She was Princess Thrissa of the Vokari broodworlds. She was considered the ugliest royal in the galaxy. Even her own people rarely showed her in public. She was quiet, strange, and kept away from others. When Marcus pointed to her, even Thrissa tilted her head in surprise. The speaker coughed nervously. "Sergeant, perhaps you misidentified. That is Princess." "I know who she is," Marcus interrupted. "But you could have gold. You could have a moon." "You could live forever," I said. "What I want," Marcus replied. Calm but firm. "I want her." More silence followed. Murmurs rippled across the hall. Some laughed, some gasped. The Vokari delegation was stunned. One elder even dropped his ceremonial staff in shock. Princess Thrissa slowly walked forward. She moved like a spider, silent and smooth. When she stood beside Marcus, she looked up at him with her black, unreadable eyes. "I accept," she said in a soft, whispering voice. The speaker nodded slowly. "So be it." Later, in the quiet garden behind the palace, Marcus sat on a stone bench. Thrissa sat beside him, not speaking. Finally, she broke the silence. "Why me?" she asked. "Why choose the creature no one wants to look at?" Marcus didn't look at her right away. He stared at the stars above. "Back on Earth," he said, "we used to have a saying, 'Don't judge a book by its cover.'" She blinked. "I am not a book." He smiled slightly. "No, but I saw you. Really saw you. When I came back from the hive, I looked around this hall. Everyone else was showing off, wearing makeup, hiding things. But you stood quietly. No lies, no mask, just you." Thrissa was quiet. Her clawed fingers tapped lightly on her leg. "I have been alone most of my life," she said. "My people hide me. My voice is soft, my mind is different, but I see things others miss." "I know the feeling," Marcus replied. "I was in a blast when I was 14, got new eyes. Cybernetics. I see a little more than I'm supposed to. Spectrum light, heat, energy." He looked at her finally. "And when I looked at you, I saw something very different." Thrissa froze. Her black eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't have," she said. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" "Because," she whispered, "now they'll come for you too." Suddenly, a hiss filled the air. The shadows shifted. Something fast and sharp leaped from a nearby tree, a figure wrapped in black metal. With blades on both arms, Marcus moved to draw his weapon, but it was too fast. Before the assassin could strike, Thrissa moved. She leaped forward, faster than any Vocari should be. Her claws snapped through the assassin's chest like scissors through paper. The figure screamed once, then fell silent. She stood over the body, blood dripping from her arms. Her eyes were glowing now, no longer black, but burning with silver light. Marcus stood, shocked. "You're not what you seem," he said quietly. Thrissa turned to him. "No," she replied. "I am not." The dead assassin's body lay at Thrice's feet, its black armor cracked open like an eggshell. Marcus Wren stared at the body, then at Thrissa. His fingers were near his gun, but he didn't draw it. The alien princess looked different now. Her exoskeleton, once dull and chipped, shimmered faintly under the moonlight. Her movements were faster, sharper, deadly, and her black eyes. They now glowed with a strange silver light. "Who sent him?" Marcus asked calmly. Thrissa stepped back from the corpse, her voice low and even. "The same ones who started the war. It's the ones who don't want me alive." Marcus crouched beside the assassin. Its armor had no insignia, no markings. The blades in its arms were coated with something oily and dark. "I've seen tech like this," he said. "Only in Black Ops. No identity, no code." "They are called the Silencers," Thrissa said. "They exist outside the Accord. They operate in shadow, and their mission is to erase me." Marcus stood slowly. "Why?" Thrissa turned away, looking up at the stars. "Because of what I am." The next morning, the palace was in chaos. The news of the assassination attempt had spread, guards were doubled, dignitaries were questioned. The Vocari delegation locked themselves in their chambers, but Marcus stayed silent. He didn't tell the High Speaker what he saw Thrissa do. He didn't mention the glowing eyes, the speed, or the way she killed the assassin in one strike. Instead, he followed her. Thrissa was quiet, walking through the older parts of the palace, the abandoned halls built long before the current council ruled. She finally stopped in a room filled with dusty statues and cracked glass. "This chamber is forgotten," she said, "but it holds the truth." Marcus looked around. The statues were not of Vocari. They were different, taller, more elegant. Their bodies were long, with strange armor and radiant eyes carved into the stone. "Who are they?" he asked. They were the Taisa Varuan, Thressa replied. The first empire, the oldest rulers of the stars? Marcus raised an eyebrow. I thought that was a myth. Thrissa shook her head slowly. The Accord buried their history, but they were real. I am the last one. She moved to a panel on the wall and placed her hand on it. Her fingers glowed softly. The wall shimmered and opened, revealing a hidden chamber below. Marcus followed her down a narrow staircase into a deep, glowing room. Inside were machines floating, pulsing, ancient. Symbols lit up as Thressa walked past them. She stopped at a large crystal column and turned to Marcus. I was never just a Vokari princess, she said. My bloodline was hidden, protected through breeding and biomasking. The Vokari raised me in secret, thinking they were protecting me. But I was always something more. What are you? Marcus asked. Her voice was quiet but strong. Vessel of the Tesha Varawan, the last heir of their power, their knowledge, their will, and the war, Marcus asked.
I said.
The Krillix invasion? Thrissa nodded. Started to find me, to kill me, before I awakened. The Krillix weren't. Working alone? Someone inside the Accord helped them. Let me guess, Marcus said. The Silencers. Yes, they are part of an old network. It's created to wipe out any remaining TSA Varuan knowledge. They fear us. They think if I rise, they will fall. Marcus looked around the chamber. You're just waking up, aren't you? Thrice's eyes dimmed slightly.
Yes.
My body was locked under biorestraint. My abilities, my memory, my instincts, all sealed. But your choice, it triggered something. You saw through the biomask. No one has ever done that. Lucky me, Marcus muttered. Thrissa tilted her head. No, not luck. Purpose. Later. That night, Marcus sat on the balcony of his guest chamber. His armor was off, just wearing simple black gear. He cleaned his blade slowly, thinking. A knock came. Thrissa entered, without her royal cloak. She wore a simple wrap made of smooth fabric that shimmered like moonlight. Without her outer armor, her body was thinner, almost fragile. But her movements were graceful. I wanted to thank you, she said. For what? For not running away after what I showed you. Marcus gave a small smile. I've fought monsters, you're not one of them. She moved closer, looking down at the city below. You were a soldier, but you're different from the others. I've seen too much, Marcus replied. Too many lies. Too many wars started by the wrong people. I fight for the ones who can't fight for themselves. Thrissa turned to him. Will you fight for me? Marcus looked her in the eye. You don't need protecting. It's not just for me, she said softly. For what I represent. He paused. If I say yes, there's no going back, is there? No, she whispered. There isn't. Marcus stood and extended his hand. Then let's wake the galaxy up. The next day, Thressa and Marcus left the palace in secret, using old codes and cloaked transports. They traveled to the edge of Accord space, to a dead system known as Karl's Grave. There, hidden under the ice of a frozen moon, is a Tishe Varuan structure, an ancient vault untouched by time. They entered using Thrice's blood. The doors opened like flower petals, revealing a large chamber filled with stasis pods, war machines, and floating relics. As they walked through, one of the machines suddenly powered on. It hovered toward Marcus, scanning him. Unknown DNA detected, it said. Partial match. Humancha compatible. Then the machine clicked and revealed a black armor suit, glowing with blue veins. Marcus looked at Thrissa. What is this? A Varuan warframe, she said. Meant to be worn by only the most trusted, and it's accepting me. Ursa smiled faintly. You are more than you know. Marcus stepped into the armor. It locked onto his body, responding to his thoughts. It felt like wearing lightning. A moment later, the vault shook. Alarms blared. They found us. Thrissa shouted. From orbit, ships dropped black pods onto the surface. More silencers. This time, not one. Not 10. Hundreds. The battle was quick and fierce. Marcus, in the new warframe, moved like never before. Bullets curved around his body. His fists could punch through steel. He deflected blades with a single thought. Thrissa stood in the center of the chamber, his eyes glowing bright silver, controlling the ancient defenses with her mind. Turrets rose from the floor. Energy shields formed over doorways. Drones spun into action, slicing through enemy troops. Still, more came. "I can't hold them all," Marcus yelled. Thrissa closed her eyes, her body lifted into the air. Energy poured from her chest in rings of silver and violet. Then, she spoke in the Tesha-Varuan tongue. The vault answered. Walls shifted. A panel opened in the far wall. Inside it was a control seat, sleek and pulsing. Thrissa stepped into it. "I'm connecting to the Ark," she said. "It's buried under this moon." "What kind of Ark?" Marcus asked. She opened her eyes. "A ship. One of the last Varuan warships. And it's waking up." The moon shook. Ice cracked the surface. Split open, and from the depths rose something massive. A black ship the size of a city, with wings of plasma and a core of glowing crystal. The silencer dropships tried to flee. The Ark fired once. A wave of light erased the enemy fleet. Marcus stood on the vault steps, watching in awe as Thrissa floated inside the Ark's control chamber. She had changed. She wasn't just a hidden princess now. She was something more. A leader, a weapon, a queen of a forgotten empire reborn. As the Ark settled into orbit, Marcus climbed aboard. He met Thrissa at the Central Command spire. She turned to him, her face calm, her glow dimmer now. "This is only the beginning," she said. "The silencers will not stop, and the Accord may turn against us." "Then we make them listen," Marcus said. "To what?" "The truth." The black warship floated like a silent god above the icy moon. Its long wings shimmered with faint blue light, and the ancient Tesha-Varuan core pulsed in its heart like a sleeping star. This ship, the Ark of Elrune, hadn't flown for over 10,000 years. It was more than just metal and engines. It was a memory of an empire the galaxy had tried to erase, and now it had awakened with a human warrior and a forgotten alien princess at its helm, inside the command bridge. Marcus Wren stood at the edge of the platform, staring through the large viewing window. He still wore the black warframe, a living armor that responded to his thoughts. It made him stronger, faster, sharper. But right now, he was still trying to understand what had just happened. The battle. The silencers. The Ark rising from the ice. And Thrissa, she stood in the center of the bridge, her feet floating just above. The floor, connected to the ship's neural link. Her body glowed faintly. Her eyes, her hands, even the edges of her exoskeleton. She looked alien, powerful, and oddly beautiful. The kind of beauty no one ever noticed before, but Marcus noticed now. "You good?" he asked, voice low. She opened her eyes. "The Ark is responding faster. Our link is stronger now because of the battle. Because IT of you," she replied. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Me. The Varuan warframe you wear isn't just armor," Thrissa said.
Ice.
"It's a key. A bridge between Varuan knowledge and human instinct. The ship senses your will through it. Kay and I." She paused. "I amplify it. So we're, what, co-pilots of a god machine?" She tilted her head. "Something like that." Far away, the Accord Council was in emergency session. They had received signals, bursts of old Varuan code, energy pulses, and the death of 5 silencer strike fleets. The moon of Karl's grave was no longer a frozen graveyard. It was a beacon. The High Speaker Virulin stood before the council. "Princess Thrissa of Okari has bonded with a Claysero Ark," he said, "and she is not alone. The human, Sergeant Marcus Wren, is with her." Many council members gasped. Others shouted, "The Ark is a weapon of extinction. No one should control that ship. Destroy it before it's too late." Virulin raised his hand. "We do not yet know her intentions. She refused our protection. She killed silencer operatives. Those operatives attacked her first," Virulin said. "But the council was afraid, and fear in politics, was a seed that always grew fast. Back on the Ark, Marcus and Thressa flew through the edge of known space. The ship moved silently, using ancient dark matter drives no one had seen for ages. They were heading toward a system called Vallis Thorn, an old battlefield, long abandoned. It was where the Tysa Varuan Empire had fallen. Thressa wanted to see it herself as they flew. They passed wreckage, broken ships, silent satellites, and shattered rings of space stone. But one thing caught Marcus's eye. A signal. Picking something up, he said, "Looks old. Real old. On human frequencies." Thrissa nodded. "Patch it in." The message was weak and broken, filled with static, but the voice was human. "This is Captain Alina Rourke of the Deep Space Research Ship, Callisto. We found something. It's not dead. Repeat, it's not dead." Then silence. Marcus's face hardened. "That's my old squad leader. She went missing 8 years ago." Thrissa's silver eyes narrowed. "Then this isn't coincidence." Followed the signal. It led them to the ruins of a TSA Varuan archive station, half buried inside a small asteroid field. The station looked empty, dead. But as the Ark drew closer, Thrissa suddenly tensed. "Something's wrong," she said. Marcus didn't wait. He launched in a drop pod, wearing his armor. As he landed on the station's outer shell, his sensors picked up movement inside. Multiple heat signatures, he whispered. Could be survivors, or traps. He entered through a broken airlock. The walls inside were covered in vines, not plants, but some kind of living metal growth. It pulsed when he walked past. Then he found her, Alina Rourke, strapped to a stasis chair, his eyes wide open, barely breathing. "Captain," he said. Her lips moved slowly. "Trapped too late." Suddenly, the wall behind him opened, not with a hiss, but with a growl. A tall figure stepped through armor like the silencers. But darker, thicker, and glowing red, its face had no eyes, just a long slit mouth, breathing mist. Marcus raised his blade. Not today. The fight was brutal. This wasn't a normal silencer. It moved like smoke and hit like a tank. Marcus ducked, blocked, and countered with his blade. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. Then it spoke, not in a voice, but directly into Marcus's mind. "You are the chosen hand. Step away. She must not rise." Marcus grit his teeth. "She already has." He plunged his blade into the creature's chest. It screeched and exploded in a burst of black mist. Marcus freed Alina and carried her back to the drop pod. As they rose toward the Ark, she whispered, "It knew you. It called you a hand. What does that mean?" Marcus didn't answer, because he didn't know either. Back on the Ark, Alina was placed in a healing chamber. Thrissa studied her, then turned to Marcus. "You've been marked." He blinked. "What?" "Varuan Tech accepted you two easily. The warframe, the ship. Now that enemy called you the chosen hand, I think. You're connected to all of this more than we thought." Marcus frowned. "I'm just a soldier." "No," Thrissa said softly. "You're my sword, my other half." He didn't speak for a long time. Then he asked, "So what do we do now?" She looked toward the stars. "We don't hide anymore." They returned to Accord space, not with stealth, not with caution, but in full view. The Ark arrived above the Accord capital, casting a massive shadow over Valari Prime. Panic spread. Defense grids activated. Warships moved into position. Then the Ark sent one message. "We come not as conquerors, but the truth must be seen." Marcus and Thrissa descended to the surface unarmed. The council waited in a high-security dome, guarded by hundreds of soldiers. When the doors opened, silence fell. Everyone stared at the two figures. The once ugly alien princess now walked like royalty, light trailing from her steps. The human soldier walked beside her, wrapped in black armor. Of legends, the High Speaker stood. "Why are you here?" "To show you what you tried to forget," Thrissa replied. She lifted her hand and sent out a wave of energy. In that moment, every screen across the planet lit up, showing memories from the Ark. War, betrayal, the fall of the Teach of Veruin, and the silencers hiding in plain sight. Some of the council members screamed. Others fell to their knees. Marcus stepped forward. This is the truth, and now you have to choose. Stand with us, or be buried with them. The council chamber was silent. Even the guards stood frozen, eyes locked on the glowing holoscreens surrounding them. Across the walls, centuries of hidden history played like a broken dream, warships falling from the sky, temples burning, and silver-eyed warriors fighting a losing battle, the fall of the THA. Veruin wasn't a legend, it was real, and the ones who betrayed them. Some of them were sitting in this very room. Thrissa stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. You buried our past. You feared our return, but I am not your enemy. I am your mirror. She turned slightly and extended her arm toward Marcus. This man, a human, chose me when others laughed. He saw what no one else could see, not because he was fooled, but because he listened. Marcus didn't say a word. He didn't have to. The black Veruin armor on his body hummed quietly. Its blue lights pulsed in sync with Thrice's energy. Together they stood like a storm waiting to break. The high speaker Virulon rose from his chair. His hands trembled slightly. Princess Thrissa, he said slowly, you have shown us much. But the galaxy is not ready for this. The Ark is too powerful. The people will panic. They deserve the truth, Marcus said, voice low, even if it scares them. Another council member stood, an older woman with silver tattoos across her forehead. And what if your truth starts? Another war. Marcus looked at her directly. Then it means peace was never real to begin with. The council broke for an emergency session. Thrissa and Marcus waited in a holding chamber, more like a golden prison. There were no windows, only a floating table and a few chairs. Marcus paced slowly. They're stalling, he said, trying to find a way to either trap us or spin the story their way. Thrissa nodded. The truth changes power. They like the world the way it is built, on lies. He stopped walking and looked at her. What happens if they say no, if they call the Ark a threat? She didn't blink. Then we leave and we build something new. Alone. Thrissa turned to him. Not alone. There are others. Those who were cast out. They're half-bloods. Forgotten Veruin tech. Old AI guardians. They will follow a voice that remembers. You mean you? She walked closer to him. Double quotes. No, Marcus. I mean us. Back on the Ark, Captain Alina Rourke was awake, though still weak. She watched the screens carefully as the council debated on live transmission. They're scared, she said to herself. Scared people do stupid things. Behind her, the Ark AI spoke, detecting multiple stealth ships entering low orbit. No accord. Signature. Masked energy. Likely silencer class. Elena's eyes widened. They're going to make a move. She activated the long-range communicator in the council tower. Marcus's comlink buzzed inside his armor. He answered. Elena's voice was urgent. You've got silencer ships inbound, coming in silent and fast. This isn't a vote, it's an ambush. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Understood. He turned to Thrissa. They're coming. Instead, she calmly closed her eyes, and the floor under their feet began to hum. Marcus stepped back. The light around her body intensified, and her voice echoed through the room, not loud but felt deep in the bones. They bring war in secret, she said, but the Ark does not sleep. In the sky above the council dome, a crack of thunder ripped the clouds apart. The Ark descended slowly. Powerfully, its wings folded like a hawk preparing to strike. From its core, glowing drones spread out in every direction. Scanning, watching, ready to stealth ships broke from orbit. Black, dagger-shaped vessels with no flags, no IDs, just silence and death. But they didn't go unseen. The Ark fired. First, blue beams of light sliced through the air like knives through glass. One stealth ship exploded midair. The others dove toward the planet, launching pods toward the council tower. Inside the chamber, alarms blared. The guards ran to positions. Soldiers raised their rifles, and Marcus moved. He ran to the center of the room, opened a compartment in his armor, and pulled out a round object, a Varuan shield generator. With a deep pulse, it created a silver dome around Thrissa and the council. Members just in time, the ceiling shattered as 3 silencer assassins dropped into the room, blades spinning, eyes burning red. Marcus didn't wait. He leaped forward, blade flashing. His movements were faster than any human should have been. He blocked a strike, spun low, and swept the legs of the first assassin. The second came from above. Marcus jumped, caught its arm, twisted, and used its own blade to destroy it. The third went for Thrissa, but the shield held. She raised her hand and blasted the assassin with a wave of psychic force. All 3 attackers fell, broken. The room fell silent again. After the dust settled, Council stared at Marcus and Thrissa. The High Speaker stood slowly, blood on his robe. "You protected us," he said. "Even after what we did." Marcus wiped his blade. "Because it was the right thing to do." Another council member, the same one who doubted them before, stepped forward. "What do you want, Princess?" Thrissa turned toward them. Her silver eyes glowed. "I want the truth to live again. I want the Varuan legacy to be more than ashes. I want those who built their thrones on lies to answer for it." "And the Ark?" the woman asked. Thrissa looked to the sky. "It is no one's slave, but it will guard those who walk the path of truth." The High Speaker slowly nodded. "Then we will walk with you." Within a few days, everything changed. The footage of the silencer ambush was broadcast across every known system. The truth of the THTA Varuan, the Council's cover-up, and the Ark's awakening spread like wildfire. Protests broke out. Old enemies reconnected. Strange ruins across distant planets began to glow again. Something ancient had been reignited. Not war, but hope. In the days that followed, Marcus and Thrissa stood once more aboard the Ark, floating above the stars. Alina walked up to them. The court just passed a new decree. Any remaining silencer agents are to be hunted and brought to justice. They're forming a new alliance with you as founding leaders. Marcus looked at Thrissa. She gave a soft smile. "That was faster than I expected." Alina chuckled. "They move quick when scared." Then she turned to Marcus. "And you're a hero now. You know that?" He shrugged. "I didn't do it to be one." She nodded. "That's why you are." That night, Marcus stood alone in the observation room. Stars looked different now, brighter. THRYSSA joined him quietly. "You never asked for reward?" she said. "I already got it," Marcus replied. She turned to him. "Do you remember the day you chose me?" He nodded. "Everyone expected me to pick someone else. A warrior queen, a beauty. But you picked the outcast." "No," he said. "I picked the one who didn't wear a mask. Even when her face scared others, she didn't pretend." She looked at him with soft silver eyes. "Then let me show you my true face." Her form shimmered, not hidden behind armor or bioskin. She stepped forward, revealing a form that was both alien and ethereal. Not ugly, not beautiful, just real. And Marcus. He smiled. "I already saw it," he said. The Ark of Velrune flew through the stars like a silent titan. Its wings glowed with ancient light, cutting across the edge of a new galaxy. Worlds below it stared in awe. Some knelt. Some feared. Some whispered stories of the princess who rose from the ashes and the human who stood beside her like a blade made of fire. The galaxy was changing, and not everyone was happy about it. In a dark corner of space, on a moon forgotten by time, the last of the Silencer Lords gathered. They stood in a circle, cloaked in black armor, with red lights glowing from their helmets. "She has awakened the Ark," one growled. "She has broken the old silence," hissed another. "And worse," said the tallest one, "she walks with a human." They all turned toward a massive dark throne, half covered in shadows. From it, a voice spoke low, deep. "In a language older than stars, the time of shadows is over. We must burn what remains of the light." From that throne, the true master of the Silencers stood. He was not machine, not alien, not even flesh. He was something else, something lost when the Varun Empire fell. Back on the Ark, Princess Thrissa stood at the central core, her fingers lightly touching the glowing veins of the ship. It responded like a living being breathing. Humming, remembering, Marcus stood beside her. "We've received messages from 23 systems," she said. "They want alliance, protection, truth." Marcus nodded. "You're building something real." "We're building it," she corrected. He gave a small smile, but then his smile faded. "And yet, something doesn't feel right." Thrissa paused. "You feel it too?" "Yes," he said. "It's like a storm coming." Hours later, the Ark received an urgent signal. A colony in the neutral zone, Ramel 9 had gone silent. No communication, no ships, in or out. Just a black hole of silence. Marcus clenched his fists. "Let's go." Thrissa nodded. The Ark changed course immediately, slipping through space using ancient Varuan jump gates, long thought broken. Within moments, they arrived above Remel 9. What they saw chilled them both. The colony was gone, not destroyed, erased. Only ash and glass remained, floating in orbit. Like a warning was a message, written in fire on a satellite hull. "The crown shall not rise." Thrissa's hands trembled. "They know I'm close," she said. "Close to awakening the last part of the Ark. The crown protocol." "What is it?" Marcus asked. She looked at him. "The full memory of the Touch of Varuan. The map to the ancient worlds, the codes that can awaken every lost Ark in the galaxy. All of it. And the Silencers want to stop it. They don't just want to stop it," she said. "They want to erase it. Forever." The Ark returned to Accord space, but it was no longer home. Political factions had split. Some saw Thrissa as a savior. Others called her a threat. Protests burned on station walls. Behind closed doors, some generals whispered of a final solution. Marcus stood before the Accord Security Council. "If you turn against her..." "Now," he said, "you're choosing the same mistake your ancestors made, burying truth in fear." A general stood. "Truth is dangerous when it comes with weapons like hers." "She didn't attack you," Marcus snapped. "Silencers did. And they're not done." Another voice rose, soft but firm. It was the High Speaker. "She has not broken any law. She has protected us. She has earned the right to be heard." The vote began. And by one vote, just one, the council chose peace. For now, back on the Ark. Thrissa stood alone at the heart chamber. She touched a crystal. In the center of the room, one she hadn't dared touch before. It was the crown key, a relic bound to her bloodline. As her fingers made contact, visions filled her mind. She saw the fall of the Varuan, the betrayal, the ships buried beneath ice and sand, the cries of children lost in the stars, and the Silencers, once protectors, now turned monsters. Then she saw him, a man without a face, sitting on a throne of shadows, watching her and whispering, "Your crown will be your cage." She pulled her hand back, breathing fast. Marcus stepped in. "You." "Okay." She looked at him, eyes shining with silver tears. "It's time," she said. The Ark began its final journey, toward the planet Lyran's Hollow. It was the heart of the old Varuan Empire, a planet lost to time, hidden behind quantum storms and shifting space. But the Ark remembered the way. As they entered the system, alarms went off. Silencer fleets, hundreds of ships, more than ever seen before. They waited above the dead world, like vultures guarding a grave. Marcus looked at Thrissa. "They're trying to stop the crown." She nodded. "We must go through them." Marcus's armor clicked into place. "Then, let's make history." The Battle of Lyran's Hollow began. The Ark dove through enemy lines, firing beams of light that split black ships in half. Swarms of drones danced around them like a shield of stars. Marcus led boarding teams onto enemy cruisers, cutting through silencers with fire and blade, but they were outnumbered. For every ship they destroyed, 3 more appeared. Thrissa pushed the Ark harder than ever before, calling to its core. To its soul, the ship responded. It changed. Wings unfolded. Engines burned like suns, and the Ark screamed a name into space. Crown Protocol, awaken. A pulse spread across the system. Every Varuan relic, every old beacon, every lost temple awakened. And from the edges of space, other Arks began to rise. Forgotten titans buried for centuries. Now answering the call, the silencers hesitated. Then, fled. After the battle, Marcus stood on the surface of Lyran's Hollow. Thrissa stood beside him, crown resting lightly in her hands. Not a crown of gold, but a simple band of light and memory. It floated above her brow, glowing softly. Dead planet beneath them slowly bloomed again. Green returned, air flowed, temples rebuilt themselves, piece by piece. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. Marcus looked at her. "You're not just a princess anymore." She turned to him. "No, I'm not. You're the Ark Queen now." She smiled. "And you, my first knight." The months that followed, a new alliance was born, not ruled by fear or power, but by truth. Lost species returned. New worlds opened. The silencers scattered like shadows in sunlight. And at the heart of it all, on a throne built not from gold, but from hope, sat Thrissa beside her. Always was Marcus, the human who saw beauty in what others called ugly, the soldier who chose truth over power, and together, they didn't just change the galaxy, they saved it.